Across rural India, communities hold deep knowledge about their villages, about their farms, forests, water resources, livelihoods, and challenges. But this knowledge rarely becomes structured input for development planning. Decisions are often based on fragmented surveys, reports, or assumptions rather than a shared evidence base. Gramify Intelligence changes this by transforming community knowledge into structured civic intelligence that can power participatory village development plan. I'll log in into Gramify app and show you. The journey begins with stories. On the Gramify feed, villagers, NGO workers, and local contributors share stories of change, challenge, and development initiatives happening in their communities and across the world. Their stories help communities connect with ideas they relate to, whether it is a watershed restoration or a water security problem or local entrepreneurship. Stories create awareness and bring communities together around shared aspirations for their villages. You can also post in form of a post, a poll, or you can create a proposal for your village. Here, Arpita has posted about this community which faces water scarcity and low crop yields. They are talking about the initiative that combined exposure visits, training, teaching villagers about check dams and farm ponds and watershed management. Once communities begin discussing their village and its future, the next step is Participatory Rural Appraisal or PRA. Using Gramify's PRA module, community members and field coordinators document village realities, including livelihoods, agriculture practices, natural resources, infrastructure gaps, and local challenges. Traditional activities such as transact walks and village mapping are converted into structured digital inputs. Instead of knowledge remaining in notebooks or report, it becomes structured civic data that can be continuously updated and shared. For example, here I am showing you a transact walk we have done for this village called Adasangi. Here someone has recorded their details about the village, what is the name of the village, who are the survey team members, what is the landmark by which village is identified, annual budget, etc. Apart from this, they can also add details of forest of my village, water resources, agriculture. Once all this data is filled, they can create a village action plan. Village action plan includes details like in your village which project or activities to do in area of comprehensive education, women and child development. They can discuss which project they would like to get done in forest. You can select multiple projects that you want to do, and this way you can create a village action plan. Someone has already created a village action plan for this village. I'll show it to you in form of a report. Someone has already filled this form for this village where they have decided that they need an Anganwadi building for the community, a construction of earthen farm, a canal line plantation for forestry trees for the community. So this way you can collect the village's data about the natural resources of that village, what are the infrastructure gaps, and create a village action plan. This participatory data flows into Block Resource Center or BRC. The BRC aggregates household and village level information into structured block profiles. It creates a shared evidence base that shows the current state of development across domains such as agriculture, livelihoods, infrastructure, natural resources, and governance. For the first time, communities, NGOs, and governance actors can reference a common set of indicators when discussing village development priorities. Before I can show you the data, I will show you how the data is being added. Now, to add data, you can select any village And here you see forms across multiple dimensions. There are 8 dimensions in total. That is demand, government schemes, household, local aspirations and constraints, local resources, market, natural resources, physical infra, and socioeconomic indicators. Now, I'll show you how these forms are functioning. So each of these dimensions have multiple forms, and these forms are at a village level. You can select any of the forms and start filling it. The forms are very detailed. It includes any and every information you can think about. Think about what all the details can a village require for figuring out their development plan, and that information is here. For example, in village agriculture input demand profile, you have to ask, like, is it easy to or difficult to get loans? Is there a shortage of raw materials? From where do raw materials come? Why raw materials are needed for work or industry? Which seeds are most needed? Which fertilizer, pesticides? Is there a shortage of storage space, etc.? I'll give you example of another form, like let's say village cultural resource profile. Here, is there any traditional knowledge in village? Is there any old or historical place here? Are there any local art forms, etc.? So this is a pretty detailed input structure where you have to fill these forms to. This is a community gathered information that will help us build the village profile, and on top of that, block profile. Now I'll show you how the block profile looks. Now if I click on view block data, and let's say select a block, all right. So here someone has already filled the detailed forms of this particular block, which is Thamul Rampur in Odisha. Here you can see how many villages the forms are filled for, what is their population, gender ratio. We can see all these dimensions, or let's say aspects of information that we have, like infrastructure and connectivity, human development, markets and demand. If I click on any of them, let's say I'll click on inputs and finance. So here we get to know that is there a raw material shortage level, source of raw material. They are saying it's local raw materials needed, which kind of raw materials are needed by this village, what are the main credit sources, what is credit purpose mix, people take credit for asset purchase, crop cultivation, education, crop cultivation, health, livestock, what is the machinery access gap, what is the ease of access to machinery, etc. You can also see the list of villages in this particular block and see the village level information as well. For example, if I click on people and society, you can see that what is the literacy gap, what is the gender balance for this village, what is the age distribution of this village, that is how many people are in 0 to 14, 15 to 59, and 60 plus, what is the population size band for this particular village. Once civic data is structured, the next challenge is to make sense of it. The Gramify Intelligence Analyzer that I'll show you next helps interpret large volumes of village data across multiple domains. The synthesizer builds on this analysis to generate structured village development scenarios. Using indicators captured through PRA and the BRC, the system synthesizes possible development pathways aligned with local conditions. For example, it may suggest interventions such as watershed restoration or crop diversification. These suggestions are explainable and grounded in the data collected by the community. Gramify Intelligence is a web application designed to transform participatory rural data into actionable development insights. It builds on data collected through Gramify app, where communities, NGO workers, and field partners document village realities through participatory rural appraisal and structured block resource center indicators. The platform analyzes this structured civic data across domains such as livelihood, agriculture, natural resources, infrastructure, and governance. Using AI, it synthesizes these indicators to generate development insights, highlight critical risks, and suggest possible interventions that can support village and block level planning. This has the potential to significantly improve how rural development decisions are made by grounding discussions in real data collected from the community. In addition, We also use AI to generate simulated village datasets. This allows us to demonstrate the full potential of the platform and help communities and decision makers visualize how richer data can translate into actionable development plans. Now, I will demonstrate how the synthesizer works and how it generates this development insights. Now, this is an example of already generated insights where you, for the district Koraput and of Odisha, you can see the block development index, how stressed it is, what are the various domain performances like demographics and social, land and environment, consumer economy and retail, infrastructure, services, health and education, etc. You can also visualize the risk flags, predictive insights generated by AI, and what are the recommended government schemes for this particular block. What are the immediate short term, medium term, and long term block development action plan? For example, this block should develop cold storage facilities to improve agriculture produce preservation immediately. In short term, that is 3 to 12 months, it should implement rainwater harvesting systems to mitigate groundwater stress. And in medium term, 1 to 3 years, enhance formal market infrastructure to reduce reliance on informal markets. And in long term, it should initiate community engagement programs to address social harmony risks. Now I will show you how did we reach here. So you have already seen in the Gramify app that how the village level and block level data is collected through the community itself. Now to actually show the potential this Gramify app, we have also created a data synthesizer where using AI we can, let's say, create data of a particular district and block using AI. I'm selecting one village here and using ChatGPT or OpenAI to generate the data for this particular village. Once this data is generated, I can quickly check it. So this data can also flow through the real data that is entered by the community on the app itself. This data can also be generated by AI. We quickly check this data. These data points are across various dimensions. We will just quickly skip this to save us the time. And once all of the data is generated, we generate a JSON. And here we can analyze the data based on the rule-based model, which is the rules are created by our own data scientists. And all we can analyze this using Claude, we can analyze this using GPT, and we can gain insights on this particular block. Because this data follows a common schema with the common digital backbone, the synthesizer can combine information across multiple domains and understand the development context of a village. Based on these indicators, the system generates structured development scenarios that highlight possible pathways for improving livelihoods, managing natural resources, or addressing infrastructure gaps. These outputs are explainable and grounded in local data. Importantly, the system does not replace decision making. Instead, it supports communities and governance actors by presenting data driven options that can be discussed during village and block level planning process. The goal is simple: help communities transform participatory knowledge into actionable village development plans.